This is TOEFL IBT speaking test, and this test evaluates your ability to communicate in English in an academic setting. It consists of 4 tasks. Task 1, express an opinion on a familiar topic. Listening, student conversation, summary, headphone. You hear a conversation between a male and a female student discussing the new policy. Woman, honestly, I think this is a great idea. We throw away so much plastic every day, it's terrible for the environment. Switching to metal utensils shows that the university is finally taking sustainability seriously. Plus, this will get students thinking about how their everyday actions affect the planet. Man, yeah, I get the environmental argument, but I don't think this plan is very realistic. What if people forget to return the utensils? Or worse, take them home by accident? They'll get lost or thrown away anyway. Woman, maybe a few will go missing at first. But I think if students are reminded often, like with posters or announcements, most will do the right thing. It's about building new habits. Man, still, it's going to create more work for the cafeteria workers. Washing all that silverware takes time and resources. Isn't that going to slow everything down? Woman, they already wash trays and dishes. This is just one more step, and if it helps the environment, I think it's worth the effort. Listening, professor lecture, summary, headphone. You hear a professor speaking in a marketing class. Professor, let me give you a real-world example of the decoy effect in action. Imagine a local coffee shop originally sells two sizes of coffee, a small for $2 and a large for $4. Many customers think the small is a better value and choose that. But the shop wants to sell more of the large size, so they introduce a third option, a medium coffee for $3.50. At first glance, this medium seems unnecessary. It's only 50 cents less than the large, but you get significantly less coffee. That's exactly the point. Now, when customers compare the three, the large suddenly seems like a much better deal. Why pay $3.50 for a medium when you can get a large for just 50 cents more? After adding the medium, sales of the large coffee increase dramatically. People don't necessarily need more coffee, but the pricing structure makes them feel like they're getting more value. That's the decoy effect. The medium size makes the large look more appealing, even though nothing about the large has changed. Task 4, Academic Lecture, Integrated, Small Blue Diamond Listening, Environmental Science Lecture, Extended Summary, Headphone. You hear a professor giving a lecture in an ecology class. Professor, today, we're going to discuss what ecologists call edge effects in forest ecosystems. Edge effects occur at the boundaries between different habitats, in this case, where a forest meets an open area like a field or a road. These edges experience environmental conditions that are quite different from the interior parts of the forest. For example, edges receive more sunlight because they are not shaded on all sides, and they also tend to be windier. These changes can cause higher temperatures and more fluctuations in moisture levels. Because of these altered conditions, certain plants and animals that prefer full sunlight or tolerate dry conditions can thrive at the edges, while species adapted to the shaded, moist interior may not survive as well there. Moreover, the edge habitat can create a transition zone with increased biodiversity, but it can also make some forest species vulnerable to predators or invasive species that live outside the forest. For instance, birds that nest deep inside the forest might avoid nesting near edges because predators are more common there. Understanding edge effects is important for forest management and conservation efforts, especially when human activities create many edges through deforestation or urban development.
I strongly agree that it is better to live in one city for most of your life rather than moving frequently. First of all, living in one place helps you build deep and lasting relationships with family, friends, and neighbors, which creates a strong support network. For example, knowing your community well means you can rely on others in times of need and enjoy a sense of belonging. Second, staying in one city allows you to become very familiar with the local culture, customs, and job opportunities. This familiarity can help you grow professionally and personally because you understand the environment and can take advantage of long-term opportunities, like promotions or community events. Finally, moving frequently can be very stressful and expensive. Every time you move, you have to adjust to a new environment, make new friends, and learn new systems, which can be tiring and time-consuming. Therefore, for stability, personal growth, and financial reasons, I believe living in one city for most of your life is better. The woman strongly supports the university's plan to replace plastic cutlery with reusable metal utensils. She believes this decision is very important because it will significantly reduce the amount of plastic waste produced on campus, which is a big problem for the environment. According to her, using metal utensils will help promote sustainability and encourage students to think more carefully about their environmental impact. She also thinks this policy will raise awareness among the student body, making them more responsible in their daily actions. While the man worries that students might forget to return the utensils, the woman feels that with clear reminders, such as posters and announcements, most students will cooperate and return them. She acknowledges there might be some challenges at the beginning, but overall, she believes the environmental benefits far outweigh the inconvenience. For her, this plan is a positive step toward making the campus more eco-friendly and teaching students good habits for the future. The decoy effect is a marketing technique where a third option, called the decoy, is introduced to influence customers' choices. This decoy is designed to be less attractive but similar enough to one of the original options that it makes that option look better by comparison. In the professor's example, a coffee shop sells two sizes of coffee, a small for $2 and a large for $4. Most customers originally choose the small size because it seems more affordable. Then, the shop adds a medium size priced at $3.50. This medium is only 50 cents cheaper than the large but offers less coffee, so it appears like a poor deal. Because of this, the large coffee suddenly seems like a much better value, and more customers decide to buy it. This shows how the decoy effect can guide people's decisions by changing the way options are presented, even though the actual value of the preferred option hasn't changed. Edge effects are the changes that happen at the boundary between a forest and an open area, such as a field or a road. According to the professor, the edges of forests receive more sunlight and are exposed to stronger winds compared to the forest interior, which leads to higher temperatures and more fluctuations in moisture levels. These different environmental conditions affect which plants and animals can live there. For example, some plants that need a lot of sunlight thrive near the edges, while species that require shade and stable humidity, like certain trees and animals, are more common deeper inside the forest. The edge areas can increase biodiversity because they provide habitats for species from both the forest and the open land. However, these edges can also be dangerous for some animals, like birds, because predators tend to be more common near the edges, making it harder for those animals to survive. The professor emphasizes that understanding edge effects is important for forest conservation and management, especially as human activities create more edges by cutting down trees or building roads.